Hi, this is Dr. Tom Groover of Boulder Chiropractic Clinic in Boulder, Colorado. And I'm here today with Chris Lawlor, one of my patients who's done something really extraordinary. I think you'll be interested in hearing about it. Chris came in and had complaints and got well and decided he would start figuring out what his body was capable of doing, and decided to enter a mountain bike race, and it turns out to be one of the most difficult probably in the world. It's the Telluride 100-mile mountain bike race. Have you ever done anything like this before?
No, and I would clarify that it's not the most difficult, but it is definitely challenging. There are definitely more difficult mountain bike races out there.
There are?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I've heard people say that that's a really difficult one. And that's,
yeah, not to minimize that race, it's definitely a difficult day.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I would say that for a first race, that's probably, one of the more difficult things you could do.
I'd agree with that.
So could you talk a little bit about what brought you in to see us the first time?
Sure. So I've struggled with back and neck pain most of my life. I've worked in construction most of my life, building houses. I owned my own company for a while and had multiple accidents. I fell off the roof twice. I fell through a floor twice. I've had car accidents, sports accidents, just kind of rough on my body, so to speak, and kind of accepted the fact that I'd probably live in pain for the rest of my life. And that became the new normal. Been to numerous chiropractors. I used to travel for work a lot, and I've probably seen 20 to 30 over the years. And other than Dr. Groover here, there was only one other doctor in Vegas who's also a Nuka chiropractor who was able to help me gain lasting relief. Everyone else is just might last for 30 to 60 minutes, and then I was back in pain again, back where I started before I came to the office. So for me, I never thought living a pain-free life was possible, and then having gotten there now, it's hard to imagine living life in the pain that I had before, so that's been really fantastic.
Yeah, and I forgot to mention, Chris has a really cool job. Could you explain what you do?
Sure, I work for the City of Boulder Open Space and Mountain Parks Department, specifically their engineering and project management group. And so my specific job is supervising the construction of trails, roads, and bridges, and in some rare but really fun cases, building the bridges. Trails crew and I built the bridge over Dowdy Draw. So for those of you hikers, bikers in the area, you might know where that is. And then we just finished the Skunk Canyon Bridge, which is off of the access road near NCAR. So it's quite fun. It gets me outdoors, keeps me active, and kind of blends the outdoor and construction environment.
Yeah, and the mountain trails, well, we have mountain and foothill and prairie trails right here in our county. And so the trail system is a matter of great public pride here. The community is very active, and I think a lot of it is just because when you're here, you just want to walk these trails. So, and they get washed out from flooding and things like that, and then they need to be updated because they get old and rickety. So yeah, we really appreciate what you're doing.
Yeah, I enjoy it.
Yeah, beautiful trails.
Yeah.
So then you have a history of pain, and then you got out of pain, and then what was the thought that you had that drove you to do this mountain bike race?
Honestly, a friend of mine, a couple friends of mine actually, who are mountain bikers, avid mountain bikers. And full disclaimer, I am not a pro or anything else. I'm just a recreational biker. There's thousands of bikers in this area that are better than I am. So just want to put that out there. But it sounded like a good challenge. I had just climbed Mountaineer a couple years before that, and that was a big project of mine. And so I wanted something else to shoot for, some big goal that I could achieve physically, and this sounded like a great opportunity. So we started biking and training, and thanks to Dr. Groover and the progress that we made and the healing, I was able to do that, and I never thought it'd be a possibility before that. So it was awesome to have those opportunities available to me now.
Yeah, and this is a really excellent example of what we call in our office a wellness patient. So you started out being someone who had health conditions, and now you're well. And so there was a process that you went through to prepare for this race, and I really appreciate your including me in on the process.
Couldn't have done it without you.
Yeah, so basically the procedure here is that when you want to take on something that's more demanding physically than you're used to, that we monitor you. Mm-hmm. So we get you in shape, and you get yourself in shape too, because this is a clinic where we work in partnership with our patients. It's not just all us. I mean, Chris did a lot of more therapeutic type exercise work and built himself up gradually. Didn't just all of a sudden slam his body with immediate demands, because when you're injured like you were, there are ligament injuries. And the ligament injuries to ligaments that hold your spine together and your shoulders and your pelvis and whatever else is going on. So those have to heal. They have to get strong and adapt to the amount of forces under which you are placing them. Right. And that takes time. Ligaments take a long time to heal and to get strong. So we have people increase the amount of intensity of their exercise, the loads that are placed on their joints, just gradually, a little bit at a time. And you got to a point where you loaded up your joints pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I remember there were a few times where I'd come in after the latest crash, which seemed to happen quite frequently during my training. Like I said, I'm not a pro rider, I'm just a recreational rider. But he's absolutely correct. We took a more holistic approach, and I talked to a nutritionist. I got my diet in order. Didn't even know I had a bad diet until I spoke with a nutritionist, which I think is common to most people.
Yeah, and you actually happened to pick a really excellent one, by the way.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Erin Williams.
Yep.
Yeah, and she's amazing. And
Easy Balance,
yeah.
Highly recommended.
Yeah.
Easy Balance is her company.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you could ever really gain healing by just treating one symptom. I think it's a holistic approach, like I said, and that included nutrition, proper sleep, getting back into the gym and getting strength and coordination and core strengthening and all that figured out, in addition to chiropractic.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And you did this pretty much on your own, right? I mean, you
Mm-hmm.
had my help and Erin's help, but other than that, was there anybody else on your team?
I mean, I had my buddies that I rode with and stuff, but as far as like my own personal health, no, it was pretty much me. I mean, I'm pretty self-motivated as it is.
Yeah.
But I think definitely having you and Erin as doctors and coaches and helpers in the process really helped.
Yeah. I tell you, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun for me. And so now, tell us what it's like in a nutshell to start training and what you did to increase the amount of demand that you were placing on your body.
Well, I always thought that I was a good mountain biker. At least that's what I considered myself to be until I started riding with some friends of mine that are very avid mountain bikers. Many of which race, some of who are ex-pros and whatnot. And so we would start going down these trails that, quite honestly, I had no business being on initially. I mean, I'd have to walk my bike through technical sections, and, gradually I would try a little bit more and a little bit more till by the end of the summer I was essentially riding all those trails clean, which also explains the numerous crashes and visits to Dr. Groover. But I think his point earlier that gradually stepping up the intensity and duration is really what we tried to do with our training. We started out with small, normal rides, normal being 20 to 30 miles, 3,000, 4,000 feet of elevation gain maybe. And then just gradually worked up from there and tried to focus not so much on the mileage and elevation, but the time in the saddle, because we knew that'd be a big factor. And then towards the end of the training, we started getting into our longer rides, trying to get as much mileage and elevation as we could.
And what were those like in terms of elevation and distance, or
So
time?
We did. We rode from Rollinsville to Winter Park and back in a day a few times, and that's, I don't know the exact numbers. It's roughly 70 miles, maybe 6,000 to 7,000 feet of elevation gain.
Yeah.
So, in terms of mileage, it was about at that 75% mark that we were trying to hit for what the race would be on race day.
Right.
In terms of elevation, it was far under what we needed.
Okay.
It's just hard to gain that much around here on trail.
Yeah.
It's not impossible, it's just difficult. Another fun ride we did was Kenosha Pass to Breckenridge and back in a day, which was a really scenic, really fun, enjoyable ride, which I'd recommend.
Yeah, very nice. And then can you describe what it was like to be in this race?
A little intimidating. Like I said, I'm, once again, not a pro, just a recreational rider. So for me, my only goal was to finish the race. I didn't care what place I was in, what my time was. And I'm happy to say that I made it by 20 minutes and I got the coveted dead last position.
But
I meant my
there
goal
was a
of
time
finishing.
limit on the race and you beat the time limit by 20 minutes.
Yeah, and there were-
Otherwise, they would have just ended it, right?
Well, not ended it, but I wouldn't have been eligible for, the coin that they give you and, and
okay.
that kind of thing. But there were several people that didn't finish, so I felt pretty good about the fact that I even finished the race under
Yes.
the cutoff time.
Yeah, excellent.
So.
And I know that you have really beautiful pictures that you took along the way. So I was talking to a professional mountain biker, and they said he brought his phone with him.
Yeah, I'm planning on. I didn't race it last year. I raced it in 2015, and there's a lot of things that I did then that I will not do this coming summer.
Right.
I've signed up for the next one. One of which being taking a huge backpack with tons of food and clothing and water and
Yeah.
extra gear. Just a lot of unnecessary weight, especially how close the aid stations are and how much they provided those.
Yeah.
And so I've been trying to really figure out what my needs are from a food and water standpoint and try to slim down as much as possible and go as light as fast as I can. So
Nice.
I'm really looking forward to seeing how much time I can shave off this year with the help of a mountain bike coach.
Yeah.
So,
Well, really looking forward to seeing how you do this year. This will be great. And is there any place where people can follow your progress? Do you make posts on social media? Do you have a website? Do you have any kind of thing like that where people can get involved in being fans?
I don't. No.
You don't? Okay.
Like I said, I just do this for fun. I don't get paid by anybody. I'm not sponsored. I just enjoy riding and.
Right. Yeah. And in this race, a large number, I'm sure, the people that finished ahead of you were professionals.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, there's plenty of professional riders that run that race and also locally that are way faster than I am, way more talented, would be much more interesting to follow.
Uh-huh.
So I would steer people more towards the race website. Just Google Telluride 100.
Yeah.
And that you can follow other pro racers on there.
And then you
Several
can
of which have written
yeah.
blogs and described the race, and some of those are pretty entertaining.
Yeah. And what I'll do is if you would share some of your photos with us, I'll post them along with this interview so people can see them.
Sure.
That would be great. And people can also go to that website and follow how you do this year.
Yeah, they track all the results, so it's not real time, but they will post the times from each racer. So you can. That's also a link on the website that you can find.
Great. Well, I know we'll be rooting for you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, thanks for all the help.
You're welcome.